Jimmy Sewell with Southern Bones Outdoors, and I hope you're doing well. Today we're going to go over we're going to do a sight review, and just so you know, before we even start, this company is not sending us anything. They didn't. This sight was purchased at retail price, and so with that, we're going to do what Southern Bones is going to call a real review. We're just real guys out there hunting like you guys do, and we need to know what some of these products are they really worth what we're paying for. So one of the guys that hunts with us, Jimmy Sewell, he went out and bought a Garmin Xero sight. Garmin Xero sight. I believe the retail price on it is about $1,200. So before he bought it, he began to ask me, "What do you think?" And I've been shooting archery for quite some time, and something that will judge your yardage is a great thing. Something that will enhance your shooting by letting you see whether you're holding the bow, whether you're torquing the bow or canning the bow. It shows you that, and that is a great training aid. But the most important is it judging your yardage, so you know what pin to use, and that is very valuable. So as he bought the sight, he unboxed it here at the house, and we began to shoot it and try to set it up. And when I say try, Kai was online looking at what he could find. There wasn't a whole lot online about it. There was some information, but it just wasn't in-depth information like we probably need. And so we had the instructions here, and I told Kai, I said, make sure you read the instructions before you come over, because I don't know a whole lot about it. You know, I can help you what ways I can. So I believe he struggled with it for probably 4 or 5 weeks, and it was getting close to archery season here. And so he had to take it to the bow shop. So when he took it to the bow shop, the guy knew exactly how to fix it, and so they went out back and tweaked it a little bit here or there. And then after that, as we got back together to shoot the following weekend, everything was on. The range was perfect. He was shooting good. So here came his confidence. So the first thing I want to review is your confidence level. If you don't have confidence in what you're shooting, I've seen it happen time and time again. This guy that you know, he's got a new bow, it's top of the line, and he's got all the things on it. And if he goes out first opening weekend, misses a deer or two, it's the bow, it's my equipment. And so I believe we're all guilty of that to a point. So the first thing I want to talk to you about, when you pay a substantial amount of money for anything, you need to have a confidence level in it. So Kai's confidence level in the sight, from time out of the box, put on the bow, till he got it adjusted, his confidence level was 0. I know I heard talk about him, putting it online, going to sell it. But he stuck with it, and that's what I can say with you guys. Knowing how to set it up is key. And the information that they give you, I'm not saying it is not the right information, but sometimes you may need to get a little bit of help. So on a rating from 1 to 5, I would say, the sight is probably about a 3.5 to 4. I'm not going to give it a perfect score, because there's really no perfect sight. I don't have a perfect sight. So as we dig down into this, there's some things that we want y'all to know that is something to consider. So we've talked about the price, and we've talked about the lack of, or the ease, depending on who you are and who you know, to set it up. So after he got it set up, he began to be able to adjust the functions and do all that, because you don't just turn it on and turn it off. There's buttons you have to hit and all that. So that would be something that would probably deter me, because I am over the age of 50, and the younger generation are far smarter than we are with computers and things like that. They just don't have a whole lot of wisdom yet. So that's for this old guy. But anyway, as Kai began to shoot it and got it sighted in, here comes hunting season, and I think he harvested 5 or 6 deer this year with it. But there was one thing that happened during one morning hunt. It fell out of the tree, and literally fell out of the tree. The bow hanger he used wasn't screwed in super snug, and as it stretched out, the weight of the bow turned that screw, and the bow fell down about 25 feet. And it did hit a limb with the sight. So if you want to know how that happens, I'm sure anybody that knows the price of this sight, I'm sure Kai was sick when he heard the clunk and the clatter and know his sight just bounced off a tree limb. So it stayed intact. Nothing broke. Battery's still good. He had to go have it, or he knew how to re-sight it in, and it was off 2 or 3 inches. So he re-sighted it in. It didn't mess with the calibration. It didn't mess with any of the features. So it worked properly. So not many of us want to do a test on a sight from 25 feet, but make lemonades out of lemons. We do know his sight sustained 25-foot drop. So that is a plus on it being, heavy duty and not being, a lot of electrical components are a little sensitive and all that. So the Garmin sight did do well in that. Talking about the pins, being able to go from a 5-pin sight to a 1-pin sight, I can see a great advantage in that, depending on what you like, or if you get tired of the 1, you can go to the 5. So that is a plus. Being a fixed pin shooter or a single pin shooter, you can feel like you can always go back to what you started with. So I do know Kai only shot 1 pin, or as long as I've known him, he's only shot 1 pin. And him making that transition to a multi-pin sight was not a problem for him. I thought it might be, but the Garmin sight has made that real easy. I asked him about battery life. When he bought it, I said, this is what I can tell you, man. You better have a battery in your pack. I still think you should have a battery in this pack, but it did last a whole season, and no battery problems. It's not showing low, and I think there's some things built into it. Matter of fact, I know that if the battery goes out, you have sight pins for a certain amount of time, so you can put another battery back in. Disadvantage to the lens. The lens does attract debris, such as dust, and so I asked him about that. He said it does attract dust. So the cover that it comes with is a very thin material, almost like a microfiber that you would use for sunglasses or any kind of lens. But Kai did go out and buy a much more heavier duty cover just for protection, and that it is waterproof. And it's got a sewn in microfiber in that as well, so you can, keep your lens clean. So if you get one, make sure you keep a battery with you just for whatever might happen, and also be sure to be able to, where you can clean that lens. So as we were talking about the dust, I asked him, I said, so how did it do in the weather? Did you sit in any rain? And I knew he did. And he said, yes. I said, so what about droplets on the lens? Did it get foggy? Did anything happen? And he said when it rained, he always tucked it in close to the tree or put his cover on, and it kept the water off the lens. But I will say for you guys, I've shot lenses in the past, and getting water on your lens is, yeah, you can still see, but it's not your sight picture that you want to see. So always remember that. Any kind of lens that goes into anything, such as a peep sight, you guys that have lenses, thinking about lenses in your peep sight, just remember that's a very small hole with a very small lens, and when I used it, I had to keep a Q-tip with me so I could keep that cleaned out if they ever got any, small piece of debris or something. So when you use lenses, keep that in mind if they do need cleaning and do need some maintenance. So after we talked about the pins and we talked about the cover and all that, I asked him his overall view of the sight. He said, well, don't forget about the yardage button. And I said, oh my gosh. Well, the Garmin sight does have a button that you have to mash to engage for yardage. So for you guys that put your hand in the bow, and his is on the front of the riser, so when you place your hand in the bow, you have to make sure that you can get to this button right here. And so if you shoot open-handed, you're going to have to get to that button. As you shoot open-handed like this, you're going to have to touch that button. You can maybe put it over here to where it would be at your thumb, that you might could touch it off with your thumb, but you have to be able to suppress that button for it to judge the yardage. So that's something to remember. As you're anchoring, and that's something to think about. You pull up and you don't see any sight pins or anything like that, you're going to have to hit a button. And I do know when you move your hand placement, anytime, it's going to affect where you where you hit the target. I promise you. So hand placement is crucial in any kind of shooting of bows, but know that you're going to have to move your finger. Not a big deal, but know it, that you have to move that finger and hold it in until it does the yardage. And it does it relatively quickly, but you do have to do that. So as we talked about it, he reminded me about that. I asked him the overall, what does he think about the sight? Understanding that the sight retailed for about $1,200. So in that, he said, I don't have to buy another sight again. And he also said that it judges my yardage. And he also said, I haven't been shooting bows as long as you have. I cannot just say the yardage real close. So he said he'd give it about an 8.5 out of a 10, 10 being perfect. So what I would like to say to you guys is there is a lot of great technology out there, especially in the archery world. Always remember, if it requires a battery, batteries go dead. If it requires a lens, those require to be cleaned. Sometimes, a lot of people say keep it simple, stupid. I'm all for new gear. I am. But there being a review out there that tells exactly how it's like, I think they're all I don't like to call anything gray. It's either truth or lie. So with that being said, we spoke the truth about the Garmin sight. I think it's a great sight. So as Southern Bones goes, y'all stay in the woods. Stay tuned. We'll have some more videos soon.
Jimmy Sewell, Southern Bones Outdoors. I need you to subscribe here, and I need you to click here for our latest video. Thank you for watching.